see a person who is a Christian who is not for the Ten Commandments in schools.
Yeah.
And I think you made a very compelling argument, you know.
There was a Texas State rep recently on the Joe Rogan podcast.
People who are like, you're in seminary, you're studying to become a minister. Why wouldn't you want the Ten Commandments in every classroom?
And he was talking about the Ten Commandments being passed in legislation in Texas that's going to go in public schools in Texas. And he was very concerned. He grew up in a tradition that valued the separation of church and state. In fact, he said it's because he values democracy in America. And all.
But I grew up in a tradition that cherished the separation of church and state, not just because it protects the church or protects democracy.
Bro, two strikes. We're not a democracy in America. We're a republic. Read your Constitution. Go back and say the Pledge of Allegiance one more time, where it tells us, "And to the republic for which it stands." Not to digress yet. He said that allowing the Ten Commandments to go into schools, it was not constitutional, it was un-American, and he said it was even un-Christian to have kids see the Ten Commandments.
And so any attempt to erode that boundary, I feel like I have a special obligation to speak out against it. And so I told my colleagues that I thought the bill was unconstitutional, I thought the bill was un-American, but I went one step further and I said I thought the bill was un-Christian.
Let me just walk you through a few thoughts. First of all, the idea that is unconstitutional, the U.S. Supreme Court has, in their actual room where they hold their court hearings, they actually have depictions of Moses holding the Ten Commandments. You actually can see on the tablets, the Ten Commandments, it's very evident. The Ten Commandments and Moses are actually part of the Library of Congress. It's actually Moses depicted in the U.S. Capitol building. This is all over our government buildings. If it's unconstitutional, then why is it very prominently featured in government buildings? Maybe because it's not unconstitutional. We've just changed our standards in modern America. And the reason that these laws are going into effect in these states is because the Supreme Court has recently reverted and overturned some of their old bad decisions from previous courts that have allowed the restoration of foundational truths like the idea in America. We believe there's a God and our rights come from God and government exists to protect those rights. Now, some people would say, well, that's a violation of church and state. The government can't acknowledge there is a God because that's religion. If there is no God, there are no God-given rights. If there are no God-given rights, then what's the purpose and point of government? Because the founding father said the primary purpose of government is to protect those God-given rights. Maybe the problem is that we have changed our understanding because we don't know history anymore. And if we would actually go back and review history and read the Constitution and read the Bill of Rights, we'd see things like in the First Amendment where it says the only limitation is on Congress. Congress shall make no law about two things: respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, meaning that Congress can't pass a law and say, you all have to be Baptist or Anglican or Presbyterian. No, they can't pick an establishment of religion, or they cannot prohibit our free exercise, meaning they can't tell us that we can't worship God according to the dictates of conscience. But when it comes to school, the reason the Bible or the Ten Commandments were part of school is because that was the foundation of the Western Hemisphere. That this is what brought civilization to America. In fact, even the laws of America are based on the Ten Commandments. This is clearly not unconstitutional, it's not un-American, and it's not un-Christian. In fact, this probably is one of the most Christian things we've done in America in a long time.